about. Everybody should have some pennies. Today we are going to find a story in the book of Mark. The book of Mark, and it's in the 12th chapter of Mark. And it says that Jesus sat down near the collection box in the temple. Now remember, the temple is where people went to worship God. They could only worship God in the building because that's where God's presence was. And so Jesus went to the temple, and it says he was sitting near where the collection box was. It's kind of a weird place to sit. It says that Jesus was watching all the people come in, and they were putting their money in the box. Friends, do you know we have a box now in the back where we're collecting our offering? It's mounted to the wall. It says many rich people put in large amounts of money. They had so much to put in, they were sharing. But then a poor widow came, and she dropped 2 coins in the box. Now, if you have your pennies, I want you to stand on your pews. I want you to stand on your couch. It's okay. I want you to stand up and tell me, how many pennies do you have? And someone who's really good at math, Pastor John's on vacation. He's usually our math guy. Someone who's really good at math is going to tell us, how many coins do you have? Stand up and tell me. You go. Imogene, it's your turn. 2. Imogene has 2 coins. Levi, how many do you have? Anybody else? Sylvia? 4. Roman? 6. Who's counting? Noah? 4. Carol? How much? 1. Anyone else want to tell us how many coins they have? Evan? You have 2. Great. Friends, we have gathered some coins. Anyone can tell me how much that is? Moises? 3. You have 3. I would guess maybe 20 coins. We can't hear how many you have, but we know that you're given to us too. It says the widow who was poor. A widow is someone whose husband has died. She comes to the temple and she only has 2 coins to give, and she puts them in. Now Jesus calls the disciples to them and says, "This poor widow has given me more than all of the others, because they gave a tiny part of their surplus. But she, as poor as she was, she gave everything she had." Now, friends, what if I told you that we needed 1,000,000 coins? We need 1,000,000 coins right now, but you only have 20-something. Would you still give your coins? Would you? God needs 1,000,000, and we only have a few. Now, this text is about money. And sometimes we think about this text when it comes to offering and giving what we have. But for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about justice and racial righteousness, something that is an enormous thing. And you know what? I only have 2 coins to offer. I only have 2 things that I can do in this huge problem, in this huge need. But the kids are willing to give their few coins. Are you willing to give what you have inside? The little bit that we know towards the topic, towards this huge hurt and this huge thing. Do you guys remember the story when Jesus had 5,000 people to feed and he only had a few loaves and fishes? And some little boy came up and said, "You can have the little that I have." And what happened? What happened? What was it? It turned into more. Oh, friends, when we bring Jesus what we have, he can do something incredible. God cares about our hearts. Are you willing? I'm willing. With my little that I have, the little that I know, I am willing. Let's ask God to do a mighty thing with what we each have. Would you pray with me? God, thank you for looking at our hearts. Sometimes it's scary to think all of the mean things that we think or all of the scared things that we think. But God, you look at our hearts and you want us to share what we have, our talents, our time, our prayers. And God, you will use what we offer and you will do something incredible. So God, I ask that you would use the youngest of our kids, all the way up in years, to do something incredible in our land with racial righteousness. God, we bring what we have and we ask you to do a mighty work. Amen.